Welcome to Albuquerque Real Estate Talk with Tracy and Tika Venturi of the Venturi Group of Real Broker here in Albuquerque, New Mexico. I don't remember what episode we're on, Tracy. It's 466, maybe? Yeah, something like that. Anyway, been on the radio here on KIVA 1600 AM for almost 10 years. I think it maybe is 10 years, and talking about real estate in Albuquerque and 1/2 hour at a time.
That's right. And loving every half hour of it. You know, Chico, every week when we get ready to do the radio show, we go, well, do we have enough to talk about? And every week we run out of time. But we also love to hear what you want us to talk about. So our listeners, please let us know if there's a topic that you're dying to know about. We'd
not running out of time to find topics, just running out of time every show because to get everything in, because there's always stuff going on in the real estate world for sure.
Because we like to talk real estate. It's our passion. We love to help people, and home ownership is so important that it's something we love to do and help realize that goal for people.
Yeah, for sure. So if you want to get a hold of us, we're the Venturi Group. We're with Real Broker here in New Mexico, and our phone number is 505-448-8888.
That's right.
Right there. Got a bunch of different good stories this week. Obviously, we're going to talk about VA loans because Veterans Day, we want to cover that. The VA loan programs are the best programs out there right now, deservingly so, I would say. And we've got different data on the current market. I've got an interesting stat on how people purchase homes. Is it cash? Is it loan? And what type of loan? And we'll get into that as well, Tracy.
Great. So where are we starting today, Tigo?
We're starting with VA.
The VA. So the VA loan is for veterans. Let's talk first about who qualifies for a VA loan, right? It's not for everyone. So to qualify, you have to be either active duty, military personnel, veteran, National Guard members, reserve members, eligible spouses of those people. And you can use your VA loan for more than one property at a time. And I think a lot of the veterans and VA eligible people don't know that, but you have a certain amount of eligibility. And if you haven't used it all, you can buy more than one property. And, you know, we've helped a lot of people, Tico, who have moved here. They've PCS'd, permanent change of station, to Kirtland Air Force Base. And they tell us that their strategy has been that they have bought a house in every base they've been stationed at, and then they keep it afterwards for a rental. And isn't that a great way to use your VA benefit, right?
Yeah, well, it creates, I mean, obviously we're big believers in real estate as a long-term wealth generator and creating that nest egg for you in the future. And the great thing about the VA with the zero down, it really allows somebody to get into a property and become an investor as well.
Right. So one of the things that, just to piggyback on that's beautiful, is a lot of times what we've heard from these people who are getting moved from a military station to another base is that their commanding officer or whoever's in charge, they know somebody else coming in that needs to rent a property. So very often they're also renting to somebody in the military or servicing the military. So it's very great. So what can you use a VA loan for? What can you use a VA home loan for? So you're buying a home. It has to be VA approved. If it's a condo, especially, a little harder.
Well, and one thing I will say, when a home is purchased and you get an appraisal, the VA appraising is much stricter than other appraisals in the sense that the home has to be in very good it doesn't have to be perfect, but it has to be in good condition. They have a checklist. They make sure that the home is ready to go, that there's, not going to be any issues, because they want to, partly it's because they're putting the zero down folks into these properties, and they may not have money to do work on the house when they first move in. So, it is a much stricter lending process.
Yeah. And you can use it for new construction also. So if somebody wants to build a home using a VA loan, you can do that. And on a limited basis, making home improvements. Some of the beautiful things about a VA loan, why it's so beneficial for that person that qualifies, is you have that option. You've already said it twice, option for no down payment, right? And the VA funding fee gets rolled into the loan. So really very little out of pocket money to get into a home.
It's really only one of the true zero out of pocket loans that are out there right now.
Right. And the other thing that's wonderful about it is there's no private mortgage insurance. So when you get an FHA loan, there is an insurance on that loan that makes your monthly payment higher so that the underlying holder of that loan is covered, since everybody that has that type of loan is paying a little bit extra towards that insurance. So if somebody defaults on the home, they've got the insurance and they're not out so much. The other thing that's beneficial is limited closing costs. There's a few safeguards in there. So, owning a home is the American dream, and owning a home is the American dream. Sorry, I don't know why my tongue is twisted today. And who better to have that home and the American dream than people who have served for us, right?
So let me just piggyback on this whole thing. We're talking about VA loans, the best mortgage loan programs out there right now. But there was a survey done, and they found that 3 in 10 service members don't realize that they have this benefit. They don't even recognize that they have this benefit, that they can purchase a home with zero
no
money down. Yes.
Yeah.
And so I'm kind of surprised by that, but it's unfortunate because it's a great program.
I think when someone's getting out of military service, there's a lot of moving parts and a lot going on, and they're getting their discharge papers and they're getting their DD-214 or whatever. And, there's probably a lot of information, and it's one of the things that they must be told about, right? But,
yeah.
Do you remember everything when there's so much going on and you're planning where you're going next and where you're going to live and things like that? If you've been in a military installation that isn't where you want to live, it could be you're going to a different state or community altogether, and sometimes a different country. So it could be that it's just one of those things that at the moment it wasn't as important. But what's interesting, if 30% know about the zero down VA loan benefit, if 30% know about it, 70% don't know about it.
No, it was the other way around. It was 30% don't know about it. 70% do know about it. That's the way I read the story. I just closed it on my page. So we're going to have to argue about this. So
no, that's fine.
Let's move on.
I'm sure you're right.
Okay.
Tigo, you're right.
Okay. We got to talk about mortgage rates.
Okay. Let's talk mortgage rates.
Let's see. It is the, what is it? The November 11th, 2023. Last week, we had the biggest 1 week drop in mortgage rates, percentage drop in mortgage rates in about a year. It was about 0.5 point. We saw mortgage rates that were up around 8 come down to about 7.5. Oh, Tracy. Oh, wow. We're going to have to backtrack now.
I'm looking at the stat. We're going back to how many percent of veterans know all of their homeownership options. 30%. That means there's 70% of the veterans who don't know about those options. So if you know a veteran and they have this benefit, make sure they know about it.
I think the other stat is 50% of the time I read the headline wrong.
Yeah. Anyway, let's move on.
Anyway, okay.
So
back to mortgage rates. So 0.5% drop in 1 week we had. So mortgage rates have pulled back. There's a lot going on in the macro economy and what's going on with the Fed interest rates and the bond rates and all this stuff, right? So, but there is some good news on that right now.
They're still fluctuating.
They
still go up and down. They did
bounce
up a little and bounce down a little in the last week, but yeah, overall they're down.
Yeah, no, I mean it's we've been talking about affordability a lot and how challenging it is for a lot of people right now, and obviously prices have gone up quite a bit over the the last few years, and all signs appear that it's going to continue to go up. But mortgage rates have really put the hurt on it because, well, this stat, but I'm going to say it again, is 1% in change in your mortgage interest rate equates to 10% in your purchasing power, basically the price of the home. So it
changes your monthly payment much more than the price you're paying.
Correct. Yeah. It's just something to keep in mind. But there was the forecasters in the mortgage world came out with some forecasts for mortgage rates for 2024. And so the thing, I know we're kind of laughing because
they have not been right.
They've been not so good. I mean, I think Fannie Mae's actually been pretty good. So here,
overall, a lot of the prognosticators of what interest rates were going to do over the last 2 years, they haven't been very accurate.
Yeah. And to be fair,
that's what I was going to say.
To be fair, they assumed that inflation was going to get under control faster than it did. And it's still, technically not under control, per the Fed, but we got to get inflation under control for mortgage rates to come down. So anyway, Fannie Mae is saying at the beginning of 2024, by the end of the first quarter, they're saying 7.1, which would be a pretty big drop from where we are today. They're saying by the end of 2024, 6.7. Mortgage Bankers Association is a little bit lower than that. At the beginning of 2024, first quarter, they're saying 6.8. By the end of 2024, they're saying 6.1. So it'll be very interesting to see if we do get into the sixes next year. And then Goldman Sachs was the other one. Again, they're actually on the more a higher side, 7.3 to 6.8. So who knows? Maybe we go back and look at this a year from now and see how they did here. But it's really going to depend on if the economy slows a little bit and if the Fed doesn't continue to raise rates and inflation comes down.
I remember some of the first years we were on the Kiva Eddie station and talking about interest rates and 5% and are they going to go to this and that, and here we are thinking the prognosticators are hoping we're going to be around 7, basically 6.8. I mean, what a spread, 6.8 to 7.3 or whatever, but it's interesting.
Yeah. So, the thing is that is just what it costs, right? It's just what it costs to borrow money right now. And, it's just like the whole thing, saying is, well, I'm going to pay whatever the price of gasoline is because I got to get someplace. I got to get to work. I got to take care of this. I got, it's unfortunate, but we have to pay what we have to pay.
I still feel really bad for all the people during the early days of the pandemic who decided they were going to wait for home prices to come down. And, they would have gotten in. So I'm
rolling my eyes because there were some people online, these pundits that were screaming about, the crash is coming and this is happening and that is happening. And people believed these people and they were idiots. And it really damaged people, this bad news reporting, bad analysis of what's going on in the market. And it's really unfortunate.
It is. I feel bad for some of those people who didn't get in. And that's why we always say, if you need to be a homeowner, just buy the house, get in. And, I hate if the rates change and go down, even a 0.5 point, sometimes you can save significant money by refinancing. Mm-hmm. The rule used to say if the rates go down 1%, refinance. But if you have a really high dollar loan of balance, 0.5% can make a big difference for refinancing. So
speaking of which, since we're kind of in this mortgage rate conversation, adjustable rate mortgages are back. Adjustable rate mortgages have a really bad rap and a bad reputation because they were a big contributor to the stuff that happened in 2008 with the housing market, because there was a bunch of mortgage rate resets and people couldn't make the payment because their payment jumped up a lot.
Totally. And, we talked to a lender earlier this week, came to our team meeting, and we talked about these adjustable rate mortgages. It was Nusenda Credit Union. Christine and Vince came to our team meeting and talked about it, and we asked them about adjustable rate, and they were like, adjustable rates right now are great, a really good option. And we all went, we're still gun shy, I think, from adjustable rate mortgages.
Some people, I'm not, but I think people are. And what was happening back in let's say 04, 05, 06 was people were getting a 1-year teaser rate
or a 3-year.
Yeah. But now the adjustable rate mortgages, generally they're a 5-year, they're a 10-year.
5, 7, 10. So they're going to be stable for a number of years. And, if you're going to be military PCSing to another base in 3 or 5 years, you might as well get an adjustable rate if you're not going to keep your house after that, right?
But they could get a VA too. No, I mean,
they can.
You got to look at all the options, right? The thing that Vince said that I thought was really interesting is, let's say you do a 10-year and maybe you get a rate in the 6s instead of in the high 7s. Well, you get that payment for the 10 years. It doesn't change. When the rate goes up at the end of that first 10 years,
assuming it goes up based on what the rates are 10 years down the road.
It adjusts, right? It adjusts. And let's say it goes up. Your payment doesn't change. The rate goes up, but your payment doesn't change, which is, again, very different than what was happening back before in the housing crash.
And the adjustable rate loan that they talked about that I thought was most interesting, they had the scenarios they went over were like 5 and 7 years, which is most common. 10 is not as common, right? An adjustable rate, but it was a 5-5-5 where it adjusts every 5 years, so but yeah, the fact that your monthly payment stays the same, it just extends out how much you owe.
Right.
Basically puts it on the back end sort of. Anyway, so adjustable rate mortgage, something to think about. And local lenders, right? You get online, do they talk to you about, you get an online lender that they don't typically spend the time to really talk about your circumstances to find out and go, hey, maybe you should be thinking about adjustable rate, or do you qualify for VA, or do you qualify for USDA or first time home buyer? Because to do USDA and the first time home buyer, here in New Mexico, most lenders don't even offer it. You have to participate in that program, and most of the online or out-of-state lenders don't even offer that.
Yeah. And that's just it. It's like, I think people are always uncomfortable talking about their financial situation to people. But if you're purchasing a home and you're working with your lender, you need to just spill the beans, give them everything, because if you've got a good lender, they will walk you through what are the best programs that's going to work best for your situation. And there's literally hundreds of different loan programs out there. So it's important people understand that. Okay.
Yep.
This isn't really a financing story, but it kind of is, because it's more about, okay, how are people purchasing homes? I saw a story, Tracy, where there was a national survey done, and it said that about 35% of all the homes purchased this year were bought with cash. And I said, that isn't happening in Albuquerque.
And that means we're skewing the number then, if 35% nationally, right? That means a lot of markets are way higher than that.
Yeah, and we'll talk about that. If you're watching us on video, I'm going to put the chart up here, or you can, if you're just listening, you can jump on YouTube and check out the chart here. But what I did is I went back to 2019 every year, so 19, 20, 21, of course 22, and now through October of 23. I know I really didn't need to list that off, but and this is what I found. In Albuquerque, cash sales this year are around 16% of all the homes that closed in the metro Albuquerque area. So yes, if the national number is 35%, we're definitely skewing the numbers. Obviously, we're not a huge market, but yeah, only 16% of people are actually purchasing with cash. And that really isn't much different. It was actually a little higher last year. It was about 18%. The year before that, it was 15%. In 2018, in 2020, it was about 12%. So, the cash sales are there, but it's not a huge percentage. The reason some of these other markets have so much cash sales, Atlanta, Dallas, Phoenix, Las Vegas, is because there's a lot of investor purchases happening there, where they're big hedge fund purchasing, lots of homes, and then just turning around and renting them. And all those purchases are cash. We don't really have those type of buyers in the Albuquerque area.
Right.
So anyway, I thought it was an interesting stat. I wanted to share that. Let's see, conventional loan this year, about 60%. VA loans, speaking of VA loans, about 8%. FHA, about 15%. So a little bit of seller financing, about 2% of all the homes sold so far this year were seller financing, where the seller basically gave the buyer a loan, and they're paying off the home back to the seller, which is a great option for a lot of people.
Totally is. Interesting chart, Tigo. So yeah, we're on YouTube, Facebook. We're right here on the Kiva, which we love. So find it there. The chart's pretty interesting. Tigo, I want to talk about a couple of houses. I know It's a real estate show. So we have a house coming soon. It's in the MLS. It's on 8th Street in Northwest downtown.
There's a reason she said that.
It's just east of 12th and Mountain, just north of Mountain. So very convenient location in the Wells Park neighborhood. 1325 8th Street. It's going to be $334,900. It's a very cute, completely redone house. 2-bedroom, 2-bath on a, 0.2 of an acre, so 1/5 of an acre, but a sweet house, going to be ready soon. If you're looking for something, it's been remodeled, very, very new mechanicals and all the finishes and things. So we're excited about that. So if you want to be downtown near the Sawmill and Wells Park area, give us a call. We'd be happy to tell you more about that property for sure. We have a couple others, some open houses this weekend. I know it's kind of cloudy and the weather shifted. We were so spoiled last week.
No.
But, if you want to know more about open houses, just jump on our website at welcomehomeabq.com. There's a great link there where you can see everything, not just the ones listed by Venturi Realty Group, but any that have been put in there. We have a property that's really a special one at 211 San Pasqual Southwest. So it's in Albuquerque Country Club area, very close to my favorite Duran's Pharmacy in Old Town.
Yeah, it's right there.
It's all about food.
It's a great spot. It's right across from the Little Theater.
Really close to Albuquerque Country Club Golf Course. It is Albuquerque Little Theater.
Yeah, that's it.
So it's on 211 San Pasqual, which is right across from the Little Theater. I mean, literally. It's a vintage, classic, historic little house in the Country Club neighborhood. It's a 2-bedroom, one or maybe 3 if you needed that. It's kind of got some flex space. It's a 1-bath, but it's a really lovely property for $285,000. So if you need something like that, I've had a few people calling wondering about Airbnb, and it's not in an HOA or anything like that. But what a great little house! It's got some real history to it.
If you're thinking of investing in a Airbnb or renting an Airbnb, go back to our show last week where we talked about potential property tax consequences. So
yeah. But $285 for something right next to Old Town. I mean, what a great location just to live. I used to live in the old.
I know, I was right down the street from where you used to
I used to live right in the Albuquerque Country Club neighborhood for a long time, and it was great. I loved it. So anyway, that's another one. We have several others. If you're looking for something in particular, give us a call. We'd be happy to help you with your home search, or if you're thinking of making a move. We have some awesome partners that are really experts at helping people sell their properties and move on to their next journey.
I want to talk about the market.
I know.
Of course
you always do. Go for it.
Again, it's Tigo and Tracy Venturi with the Venturi Group of Real Broker. There's a tracker that I have that gives me an update every single week of what's going on with homes for sale in the Albuquerque area. It actually tracks the homes for sale, not necessarily what's sold. And it gives me really good insight into where the market is in real time, as well as really kind of can see where things are going to be in the future. A couple of things that I track there is like median list price, average list price, average price per square foot, because they say, okay, if people are starting to list their homes for a lower price, and the list price per square foot and the median price is starting to go down, that means, okay, there's some pressure on pricing right now. The other thing I look at there is how many homes had a price decrease. how many homes were listed, and it gives me a percentage of the number of homes that had a price decrease. So a couple things that just jumped out this week. One, price decreases actually were pretty high, about 43%
Ooh,
of all the homes
wow.
that are on the market have taken a price reduction.
Wow.
And I could have told you about a month ago that that's probably going to happen, because I could see that list prices, price per square foot, and median price had kind of peaked out, and we weren't seeing that it continued to go up. But I also pointed out on my video, I think last week, is that's pretty common this time of year, where we do see, a peak in prices, early midsummer, and then, things kind of flatten out. But we're not seeing a huge reduction in median price or price per square foot. It's just there's more price reductions right now because people got a little ahead of the market maybe on their list price, and now are having to adjust to attract the buyers. So, it's interesting. It happens every single year.
Right. So what's the result here?
The result is, so
built it up. So what are they doing?
Well, what do you mean by that? I guess
you said you track it. So is the average price per square foot staying steady, or is it going up?
No,
it's going down.
It's steady right now. Median price and price per square foot are kind of flat. Basically, they're not going down. We did, like I say, we've seen some more price decreases. We've seen, days on market going up a little bit, and but inventory is kind of the thing that I also obviously look at. So inventory, number of homes on the market, it's been pretty much steadily increasing since, well, really it bottomed out in January. Let me actually pull up the actual chart here and I can tell you exactly. Yeah, so it bottomed out, the number of homes on the market. No, it was May. Yeah. So the number of homes on the market bottomed out in May, and ever since then it's been increasing pretty much every week, every month until last week. And now it started to turn over, and now we're not seeing as many homes coming on the market. It's going to be interesting to see how this week is, because we had that big drop in mortgage rates. So I know that's really granular, but that's the kind of stuff I'm looking at every week to kind of get a sense of where things are.
To put a number to one of those things, which is a little different, in the last 1 week, 195 properties had a price decrease.
Okay. How many homes had went under contract pending? Do you have that there? Do you have that hot sheet?
Pending 218.
Yeah. So.
Yep.
Yeah. So of the
175 closed officially, finalized the sale, and 55 came back on market. So it could have been temporarily withdrawn, which was like the San Pasqual property we talked about.
Yeah. Could be some fall throughs.
Could be some fall throughs. Yeah.
So, 200, you said how many pendings?
Pendings 218 in a week.
Okay. That's out of probably about 1,500 properties on the market. Yeah. So it's still a pretty high percentage, overall. Obviously, lower price points are still really hot. We're still seeing multiple offers, even in higher price points, if it's, one of those desirable properties, desirable locations. So it's an unusual market, to say the least.
I'm sure you're pretty surprised that I had some stats to add in too.
That was amazing.
Yeah. I'm not going to take over your Statomatic job, though. Trust me.
No, don't do that. Oh, man, then I won't know what to do. So, I just got to say it, Tracy. There's this big story again. It's broken the last week. This big lawsuit about real estate commissions, and there's been a whole lot of news on it, but there's not any really resolution of what it means. This big lawsuit, but nobody really knows how it's going to affect anything at this point. So, it's out there. I just want to bring it up because I don't want to pretend like we're ignoring the story, because it's a big story, but it's too early to really say, okay, this is how, it's going to change. I mean, the only thing that's going to change is, well, we don't know.
That's right. We don't know.
We know that, you offer professional services, you should get paid, right? So it's just a matter of how that's going to happen.
And, a lot of people are speculating on one thing or another, and it's all different, but we're going to just keep doing a great job for our clients. So another half hour has come and gone, Tigo.
Just like that. Again, it's Venturi Realty Group. We're with Real Broker here in Albuquerque. You can reach our team line at 505-448-8888. Thanks again for listening and watching. Take care.